The G9 is Xpeng's big SUV that it sells here in Europe. And in this video we're not doing a full review because the loyal fans of this channel know that I've already done a full review of this car last summer. My name is Peter from Autogefuel, and in this video we're doing a deep dive in this car because this is the new model, but fundamentally there is no difference over the old model in terms of what the car is. But there are a few things new underneath, and I want to dive into a few aspects of this car that make it so great. So if you want to see the full review, check the link, and otherwise stick around for the deep dive into the Xpeng G9. Now the biggest change for this G9 is something that I can't show you, and that's the battery underneath. They've done some changes in the battery architecture in itself, so there's a different kind of layering of the battery, and they've changed a lot in the battery management system. Thanks to AI, of course, like everything and everyone these days, but it means they can have much more control over the cooling and a much more optimal environment in general for the battery. So that means improved safety, improved stability, improved longevity, but also improved speed. So this car supports over 500 kilowatts of charging, which is a crazy speed, and there's basically no pole that can really give you that kind of speed, but it really shows how far they can push these batteries already. Now, a valid question obviously is, how often are you really going to need that kind of fast charging? And the answer is not often, because most of the time you'll be charging this at home. But when you do fast charge unexpectedly or on a road trip or whatever, you want to be charging as fast as humanly possible to get out of there as fast as possible as well. And for that, this car is ready for the future. This is far beyond what we're going to build in the coming years, but it shows how far along they are with this battery technology already. And of course, when you can do it, it's fantastic. Now, I was going to show you some charging, but then I figured, you know, it's not very interesting to watch a bunch of numbers on the screen, so it's not that much fun to show in a video. So just trust me that this car is insanely fast when it comes to charging and will beat anything next to you on the charging pole. Now, the other big news with this new G9 is the blackpack, and that means that you get an improved grille here with more black accents for a better look. That's step one. Step two is that you get very chunky 21-inch rims in black, of course, with this spoke design and the Xpeng logo in the middle. And you get the orange brake calipers here. Fits my jacket nicely. And going up, you get the trim on the mirrors, the trim around the window, the roof bars, all those things in black as well. So once you do that, you end up with this incredible gangster spec black on black with even more black trim. And I think this is a spectacularly good looking car. Now, small detail is that you can only order this black pack on the all-wheel drive performance model. So if you want the black pack, you have to get the top of the line one. But I think that is the one to go for. If you're looking for the ultimate Xpeng in many ways, this is the one. You get all the performance, all-wheel drive, all the power, all the range, all the big battery, and with that black pack, and you have quite the car. Now, there is a launch mode, believe it or not, so that's what we're going to do now. We got an empty bit of road, and we're going to go full throttle, let go of the brake. And that's 120. So this car is fast when you want it to be. It is quite something to accelerate this fast with a car this size. Now, I mentioned earlier on the outside that the updates to the car itself are quite minimal, but sitting here, there are a few worth mentioning and pointing out because they're subtle, but they do add up to a bit of an overhaul. So I got my point and shoot camera here, and I got my list right here so I don't skip any. So we're going to start with the sun visor up here. That now has this origami folding thingy, and it looks like this. So that is different than before. I will put the before and the after pictures on the screen so you can actually compare. The second thing is up here, the interior lights. They now have 3 lights where before it was only 2. So that is nice. Extra LEDs are always a good thing, of course. Then the steering wheel, that's a big one. It's now in line with my G6, so it's even more minimalistic with these 2 tiny button and rotary clusters. Very nice and stylish, I quite like that. And the driver's display is also slightly bigger. Sticking with the steering wheel area, the stalks behind the steering wheel are now updated as well as the gear selector. So that is now new and improved. Then we have the window switches here. This is cleaned up, so this now looks like this. And also in the rear, the controls are updated as well because they used to have the seat controls on the door. Now, I can't show you that sitting here, but the carpets are slightly different as well. And yes, the headrests are different because they now have Xpeng in the headrest, and that looks like that. And before they didn't have that. So those are all the updates here on the inside. Now the Xpeng G9 is a big vehicle with a lot of space inside, but that comes at a penalty for the space on the outside that you need in order to maneuver the car around. It takes up a lot of real estate. Now I can imagine that for the average YouTube viewer it is maybe hard to imagine how big a vehicle like this actually is, because it's more than 490 long, it's more than 190 wide, and can you still put that somewhere? So we are at a public parking here, as you can see, with pretty normal parking spots, and here is the G9 parked in one of them. Now you can see that there's not that much space left here on the passenger side. It's about a shoe width. Then on the other side there is a bit more space, and if I walk around the car you can see that it's not sticking out in the back at all. And if we go to the front, you can see that there's plenty of space left here on the front. So I can even push it in to the parking bay a bit further if necessary. Now, if we open the door on the driver's side and put that in the first position, you can see that it is definitely crossing the line. So if there's another car parked over here, I cannot open the door this wide anymore. And then it's going to get tricky to get in, because like this I can get in, you know, fairly normal. But if the door is only able to open till here, it does get quite tricky. So that is the consequence of a car that is over 1.90 m wide, that even though you fit in the square perfectly fine, the passenger is going to have issues getting out if there's a car in this bay. But also as the driver already parking, you know, relatively normal, it is going to get a little bit tight. Currently I'm sitting in an unfamiliar spot. I am in the passenger seat. So for a change you guys see my left side. I'm sitting here because one of the defining features of especially the front part of this car is the secondary screen. So we have the screen right here, and you can see that it is in the same encasing as the central screen. But when I turn it on, you can see that it's very much two separate screens in one housing. So that's the first important thing to note. The second thing is that this screen is polarized, so you can't see it from the driver's seat. And you can't see it is a loose term, because obviously if you arch your neck a little bit, you can see that there is something on the screen. And of course, if you put this on full brightness and you're driving on the road with no lights at night, yes, you see some part of the screen, but it's doing a pretty decent job in not being distracting, even if something is going on here. Now, what is this for? Mainly entertainment purposes. You can see here on the home screen that it is YouTube, Disney+, Spotify, Apple TV, TikTok, Instagram, Audible, so all entertainment services. Now, these don't come with the car. These are things that you need to have your own subscription for. So you can log in here if you have a Disney Plus account or a Spotify account. You can log in to these services here and then utilize them as you would on your phone or at home, for example. So that's important to note. Entertainment is really the main focus here, but there are a few other things you can do. So first of all, we have the drop-down menu here for screen brightness, media volume, and the currently playing media. And then you have some basic things like seat ventilation, seat warming, Bluetooth settings, and so on, and temperature, of course, here for the passenger. So that's nice. I can also go to the apps that are available in the car that I can also get on the middle screen. So you can see that here, Xplay, Audible, Apple Music once again. And if those are not enough, I can go to the App Store to download even more. Now, currently I have all the apps installed already, but obviously an App Store grows over time. Xpeng is constantly working to expand these services. So you can think YouTube Music, for example, is not available here. Probably something to do with right management and so on. But if and when that becomes available, you can find it here and then install it to your car. So that's nice. And then there's also the mindfulness space. This car, of course, has all kinds of massage functions combined with the seat heating and seat cooling, the ambient light, and some music. Now, you can imagine that is good for a mindfulness space. I'll spare you me activating the meditation session, but if you want to, for example, when you're charging, you can have a very pleasant and relaxing experience here. So that's nice. And that is really all there is to it with this second screen. Now, on the one hand, you can say that this is complete nonsense, because if you're sitting here with a driver, then and you are here watching YouTube videos, that's a little bit rude in a way to the driver. You can also just have a conversation, right? And it would make more sense to me if this was available for the rear passengers. And this has no screen or anything in the back. So yeah, it is a bit weird that it's for the passenger but not for kids in the back, for example. On the other hand, you can also argue that it does add a bit of extra functionality and it's something to do for the passenger. And these screens don't cost anything anymore these days, really. So, you know, instead of putting nothing here or a piece of plastic, they add some extra this way. You can argue for both sides, I think. But that is what the second screen will do for you, and in particular for the passenger. So currently we are in my parking garage, and as you can see, the boot of the G9 is open. Xpeng claims well over 600 liters of cargo space, but those numbers are meaningless. Like, what does that mean in real life? Well, we got some sofa pillows right here that I'm going to fit in there. So we're going to see how much actually fits. Now, these pillows are for my outside sofa. You can see they're not small. If I put these in, you can see that basically takes up more than half the boot already. And then when I start putting in these back pillows here on the side, it fits quite nicely actually. I took the parcel shelf out, but you can see we're already approaching the line where the seat back ends. And you can see if I start putting these in, it is pretty full pretty quickly. So I got 2 more to go. Now this fits, technically speaking, and there's a little bit of space left over here, but basically it's full. Now we could lower the second row, so that will give you an additional 900 or about 1,000 liters extra. Well, then you can take 2 of these sets and then the car is full as well. And in all honesty, there is a little bit more height here that you can use to stack things up even further, but then obviously you can't see anything out your rear view mirror. So there you have it, a real life volume instead of a number from the brochure. This is what will fit in your Xpeng G9. Now obviously we cannot have a video without any driving in it, so currently we are on the highway already. And when you talk about driving, obviously the first thing that comes to mind is the sheer size and weight of this vehicle. It's a big car, heavy car, but at the same time it's also a car with 4-wheel drive and a car with excellent air suspension. And especially that air suspension is worth mentioning. In this new version there are 2 extra modes, snow and wet mode. So that is a bit of extra driving aid that you can get in more slippery circumstances. But I have to say, I'm now in comfort mode, and I've had it in comfort mode pretty much the whole week that I've had this car. In also rain, not much of a snowy country here in the Netherlands, but also in more slippery circumstances, the comfort mode is just fine. And that's especially because of what Xpeng has done with the power delivery. Obviously, electric power is instant. As soon as you put your foot down, the car can go, and it is a fast car if you want it to be. But the power delivery is very gradual, so that's nice. It certainly pins you in your seat once it gets going, but it doesn't throw you out of your seat when you hit the throttle. So that's great. And with the amount of power available, obviously you're one of the fastest cars around, and there is no situation that you can't manage in terms of merging or getting out the way of a truck or something. Back to the air suspension though, there is quite a lot of adjustments you can do in terms of ride height and ride comfort. You can really feel the difference when you switch from comfort mode to sport mode. And they also haven't messed about with 47 settings for how hard or how high you want the suspension to be. They've kept the choices quite limited, you know, low, medium, high, heavy, medium, light. So that is quite nice, because I don't really believe that people sit at the driveway in the morning and think, ooh, no, I want my regen braking at level 11 and not on level 12 anymore. You know, just a few options is more than enough to choose from. And of course you can configure the driving modes the way you want. So we have individual mode, we have a sport mode, a comfort mode, and an eco mode, and then those new wet and snow modes. And you can set things like the regen braking level, the brake assistance, the power delivery, the steering, the power steering, how heavy you want that to be. So there's quite a lot to adjust, but not in an overwhelming way, which is great. And then when you do have it in comfort, like now on the highway, it is very compliant, it's soft without the car becoming a full boat. It's just everything for you. So that is really, really nice. And as far as that goes, I don't think that those extreme snow and wetness modes will be used that often, because, you know, I don't think many people are going to sit here and go like, oh, it's raining a little, let's go to the wet mode. I don't really think that's necessary either. But maybe when you go on ski holiday, for example, then you know, the snow mode might come in handy. Because this is an excellent car to take on ski holiday. You have the range from the big battery, you have the comfort in here with the air suspension, you have the sheer space in the rear and in the boot for all your gear. You can even put a ski box on the roof. So it's an excellent long distance cruiser. And then when you get to the Alps, put your snow mode on and everybody's happy. And then of course you still have the four-wheel drive to rely on to begin with. So it is absolutely very suitable for that. Now, before we end the video, an update on the prices of this new G9. We're starting here in the Netherlands at €58,000 for the rear-wheel drive standard range version. That will give you 502 WLTP kilometers with a battery capacity of 80 kilowatt hours. You get 351 horsepower, and that means you will go from 0 to 100 in 6.6 seconds. Charging not as fast as this one, but still at 445 kilowatts, so that's pretty good. Then you can take the step to the rear-wheel drive long-range version for €64,000, so quite the step in price. You get the same horsepower, but you get a bigger battery, 95 kilowatt hours of battery, which gives you 585 WLTP kilometers. And you can charge a little bit faster at 525 kilowatts, so that is definitely worth the upgrade. But obviously you want this all-wheel drive performance version. That starts at €74,000, so that's a big jump again. For that though, you get a more horsepower at 575 horsepower. That means you will go from 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds, so it's a lot quicker. Also thanks to the all-wheel drive, of course. You get 540 WLTP kilometers, and you will charge as well at 525 kilowatts. If you do go for this all-wheel drive performance version, obviously you also want the blackpack. That's going to cost you an additional €1,290 here in the Netherlands. If you then add everything up, this car as it sits here is a little over €77,000, which I think for the car that you get is still quite the deal, considering the amount of power, the fact that it is basically the fastest charging SUV on sale today. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. For all the space that you get and for the way the car looks, I think that is definitely a deal. And that's all I got for you in this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Let me know in the comments if you like this kind of deep dive or not, and if you have any suggestions how we can potentially improve it. I quite like it that I review a car, do the full driving test and everything else, and then when there's the opportunity to do something different like this, have a deep dive and look at specific items. I quite like doing it this way. Let me know in the comments if you guys feel the same. For now, thank you very much for watching. Give it a thumbs up, and a sub to the channel obviously is always appreciated, and I'll catch you guys again in the next one. Cheers!